We're going to be looking at page 64 of our note guide today. We are going to write equations for quadratic functions. So we've got some steps here, and you're just going to follow these 3 steps to be able to write the equation. So the first thing is we're going to substitute h, k, x, and y into the equation. The equation that we're looking at is the y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So when we do this, we need to put in our hk and our xy. If you look here, my vertex is always my xk, and my other point is always my xy. So I have negative 2 equals my a times my x, which is my negative 4. And notice I'm getting these numbers from on the left side. So when I put in my y, I'm putting this negative 2 in for y. When I have my x, I'm putting the negative 4 in for my x here. For my h, I have a negative 2. So I have a minus and negative 2. And minus and negative 2 is the same as saying plus 2. So I'm going to add 2 here. Now, make sure you put the squared. I keep forgetting to put the squared on there when I've been doing them, and then it messes your answer up. So then I have the plus k is my plus 6. Now I have negative 2 equals a times negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2 squared plus 6. Okay, negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, and a negative 2 times a negative 2 is a positive 4. I minus my 6, and I get negative 8 equals 4a. I divide by 4. So my a is going to equal a negative 2. So now I'm going to look at, I've plugged in my numbers, I've solved for a, and the last step is we're going to substitute a, h, and k into the equation. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that equation there. I have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so we're not going to touch the x and the y. We're going to keep the y equals. I'm going to take this negative 2 and plug it in for the a here. Negative 2x minus my h. My h is a negative 2. So if you look over here, I've got my hk is my negative 2. So when I put a negative 2 in here, I have minus a negative 2, which ends up giving me plus 2. Plus 2 squared. And the last bit is plus k. And my k is the 6. And that would be the equation of a parabola with vertex and one more point. On number 11, we have a vertex 3, 5. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is my h comma k. And then I have one more point, which is my x and y point. I have my equation y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. I'm going to take and plug in the numbers, the h, the k, the x, and the y. In for my y, I'm going to put a negative 3. In for my a, I don't have that, so I'm just going to keep my a. In for my x, I'm going to put 7. in for my h, I'm going to put a 3. So I have the minus, and then my h is a 3. Make sure you square it. And plus k is 5. So I have negative 3 equals a times 7 minus 3 is 4 squared plus 5. This gives me negative 3 equals 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. And a times 16 equals 16a plus 5. I'm going to minus 5 from both sides. I have negative 8 equals 16a. Divide by 16. And my a equals negative 1/2. So now I've solved for a. My last one is I'm going to substitute a, h, and k into the equation. So for my final answer, I have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So I'm going to keep my y. And for the a, I'm going to have my negative 1/2. I'm going to keep my x. And for the h, I have my h is 3. So I'm going to have x minus 3 here. And then in for my k is 5. So I'm going to put a 5 in here. So we're just going to substitute those numbers in for our equation. Negative 1/2 in for a 3 in for h, and a 5 for k. So I have negative 1/2 x minus 3 squared plus 5. And that would be my equation. So in the review, you were given, it's a blue review we're given today. There are 4 problems that go along with these notes that we just took. So this is how you can try them on your own and do them, or you can look at these 4 and do them together, and then you'll have 4 done off of your homework. So let's look at number 17. First, we want to label our HK. HK is our vertex, and we have one other point, which is our x, y. Now we want to write the equation. The general equation is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. This is in vertex form, so it tells us the vertex very easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our h, k, x, and y. So h is here at 2, and we're going to just plug that h value in. Our k value is the number all alone at the end, so plus 4. My x is 3. I have a minus in between the 3 and the 2. I don't know what my a is. That's what I'm trying to figure out first. And then my y is 3. So I'm going to keep an a here. In for... In for my k, I'm going to add in a 4. I have my x value is 3. I have a minus in between the 3 and the 2. My y is 3, and the only thing left is my a value, and that is what I'm going to try to solve for. So I want to do what's inside the parentheses first. 3 minus 2 is 1, and make sure you square that. 1 squared is 1. And 1 times a gives me a plus 4 equals 3. I minus the 4, and my a equals a negative 1. So my equation is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And I'm going to plug in my h, k, and my a to get my final equation. So I have y equals, my a is a negative 1. I have x minus my h, which is 2. I have my squared, and then my k is a plus 4. On 18, I have my HK is my vertex, my X, Y is my other point. So I have the equation y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So I'm going to take and plug in my numbers, my hk, my x, and my y. My y is 5. My a, I don't know. My x is a 3. My h is a 1, but I need a minus 1. We changed the signs on whatever the h is. I have my squared and my plus k. My k is negative 3, so I have a plus and negative 3, which is just minus 3. Now I do what's inside of the parentheses. 3 minus 1 is 2 squared. 2 squared is 4 times a is 4a minus 3 equals 5. I add 3 to both sides. 8 equals 4a, divide by 4, and my a equals 2. So we're going to go ahead and use this equation here. We're going to substitute everything except the x and the y. So I have y equals, my a is 2. I have x minus my h is 1 squared, and plus k is minus 3. Okay, so this would be my final equation there. Now 19 and 20, it's the same idea. The only difference is we don't have a picture. So I have my x. So I have my vertex is always my hk, and my other point is always my xy. So I have my y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Now I want to take and substitute in my hk, x, and y. My h is 1, my k is 2, plus 2. My x is 3, and my y is 10. I'm going to try and solve for my a value. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So I have 4a plus 2 equals 10. I minus 2. I have 8 equals 4a. I divide by 4. And my a will equal 2. So I'm going to have the equation y equals a, which is 2, times x minus my h, which is 1, squared, plus my k, which is 2. And so that would be my equation. Okay, the last one, we have our hk, our x, and our y. We have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So we have in for y, we're going to put 12 equals, we don't know our a. In for our x, we're going to put 3. Our h is 1, 3 minus 1 squared, and our k is plus 8. So I have 12 equals a. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. A times 4 is 4a plus 8. I minus 8 from both sides. And I get 4. Four equals 4a. Divide by 4. And my a is going to equal 1. So I have y equals, my a is 1, times x minus my h is 1 squared plus my 8. So that's my equation. Normally we don't leave the 1 here. That's not considered simplified, so we're going to have y equals x minus 1 squared plus 8.